One question I still see with a lot of Naruto fans, and have seen for the last 11 years since the Naruto manga ended, is where did Madara's Rinnegan go after he died in Naruto Volume 72? Part of why fans bring it up is this possibility of there being another set of Rinnegan eyes out there, and it intrigues fans, even more so in the case for fans who follow Boruto's story where Sasuke got his Rinnegan destroyed, because a common question is, why doesn't Sasuke just go find Madara's body and pluck out his Rinnegan? Join me in today's newest Naruto Explained video where we take a look at the answer to what really happened to Madara's Rinnegan and answer that question that so many of you guys have probably asked at some point reading the story or watching the anime, and you likely still ask this question to this day. This is an incredibly thoughtful and nuanced question when you really think about it, because it touches on one of the most symbolically rich moments at the end of Naruto, Madara's death in Volume 72 of the manga, but a lot of fans do not appreciate what we got because a lot of fans have missed what we're about to go over here. There's a subtle but very significant visual detail that is there. Madara no longer possesses the Rinnegan eyes when he dies in the manga, and this carries a profound narrative and spiritual symbolism. So what we're going to do now is we're going to unpack the in-universe mechanics behind what happened, as well as the symbolic meaning rooted in Buddhism and Shintoism, and the fusion of both in particular as it relates to the Rinnegan and Madara's philosophical arc. So what happened to Madara's Rinnegan? So when Kaguya is defeated by Naruto and Sasuke, when they use the 6-pass Chibaku Tensei, which drains her chakra to absolute zero, effectively killing her, she is forcibly extracted from Madara's body. She has to spit him out because she used him as a vessel to reincarnate. The mechanics of this are very subtle. Kaguya was using Madara's body as her host. The moment that she was being defeated, Madara was ejected because he's no longer being used as a vessel for her, because the chakra in her body is being extracted. That includes Madara. However, he was also already fatally altered here. His body was being used to channel the full power of the Ten Tails and the primordial chakra of Kaguya as well. That on top of Zetsu stabbing the guy through the chest, but we'll get to that in a moment. So where the 9 Biju were being ripped out, just like you see with any Jinchuriki that gets a Biju extracted from them, Madara was doomed to die. But unlike others, his situation is more extreme. He was essentially emptied of divinity and of life force. However, here's the overlooked scene that a lot of people miss, the overlooked detail, if you will. In the final scenes where Madara is lying there dying and he's speaking to Hashirama, his eyes were not drawn in the manga with a Rinnegan. So in the official colored manga, they appear to be pale, glossy, and empty, just like we saw when Itachi's Mangekyo Sharingan went blind before his death. This very important visual cue, it suggests that Madara's Rinnegan lost its light. It's not physically plucked or stolen, but instead it is extinguished. The reason for this is twofold. There's spiritual blindness. Madara's pursuit of power through unnatural means by stealing Hashirama's DNA to awaken the Rinnegan by mixing the chakra Ashura and Indra. When Madara first awakened the Rinnegan, he was able to restore the eyesight that he lost when he used Izanagi, and now that he has lost the Rinnegan, he has now lost his light in general. And there's also the issue of a loss of divine chakra. So when Kaguya was defeated, all divine chakra, including hers and the Ten Tails, it was stripped from this world. The Rinnegan being a divine eye born from that unnatural fusion of the chakra, the two reincarnates of Hagoromo's sons, it's being written as a cosmic balance being restored. The world has rejected his violation of natural law. Now, this gets even deeper when you look at the Buddhist symbolism behind Madara's blindness. So the Rinnegan itself is deeply inspired by Buddhism, in particular the concept of samsara, which is the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. The word Rinne is literally the Japanese word for reincarnation. So with the 6 paths, the Rinnegan grants all Rinnegan users the basic 6-pass techniques, each corresponding with one of the 6 realms of existence in Buddhist cosmology. So you have the Deva path, which are the gods. You have the Asura path, which are the demigods. You have the human path. You have the animal path. You have the Preta path, which was inspired by the Hungry Ghost. And then you got the Naraka path, which is the King of Hell. The Sage's Six Paths, Hagoromo, he mastered all of these because obviously. But Madara, in seeking the Rinnegan, sought to dominate Samsara and not transcend it. He tried to impose a perpetual illusion, infinite Tsukiyomi, eternal stagnation rather than liberation, which is what Buddhism teaches. In Buddhism, this would be considered to be a spiritual perversion, to deny suffering, not through transcending it like someone like Naruto did, not through transcending it through something like enlightenment, but instead by erasing free will. Madara's Rinnegan losing its light as he lay there dying, it is very symbolic of this. He failed to reach enlightenment, and the eyes that once granted godlike insight became clouded, like the blind leading the blind. His samsaric cycle is ended not through rebirth, but instead through extinction, a fate in Buddhism akin to falling into hell, the lowest realm, where karmic misdeeds are purified by oblivion, which again, his eyes have basically been obliterated here. Then it gets even deeper when you realize that it's Hashirama standing next to him. And the reason why that gets deeper is when you look at all this stuff that is associated with Hashirama. So the things like the deity gates he can summon and that Buddha with the 1,000 hands, etc. Hashirama's entire character is steeped very heavily in Buddhism and Shintoism. So Hashirama and the wood deity and the return to balance are the key things you have to look at here. So Hashirama sends you the man who was titled the God of Shinobi, was always Madara's ideological counterbalance. His wood release summons the Buddha-like statues and the Torii gates, which are the Shinto Buddhist structures that are used to restrain. It symbolizes harmony with nature and the divine. Those gates in particular are the ones he used to drop down on the Ten Tails. His Buddha statue with 1,000 hands, it is directly inspired by Shinju Kanon, the 1,000-armed Bodhisattva, and that Bodhisattva is of compassion in Buddhism. When Madara dies, it's with Hashirama as his witness. It's Hashirama showing him compassion as he's dying, saying that both of them are leaving this world now, but at least they get to share drinks, not in the physical sense, but in the symbolic sense, and that they get to die as war buddies, and Madara dies with a smile on his face. Hashirama is offering him compassion during this time. It's not Naruto there, it's not Sasuke there. This final moment, it shows Madara's return to humanity. Madara was essentially the man who believed himself to be God, who has now been essentially humble. This is a rejection of his divine ambition and the acceptance of mortality itself. He is no longer a god, nor a vessel, nor a reincarnation of Indra. He is dying as a man. He no longer is a person who is fighting that cycle of hatred that he was trapped in. He and Hashirama, they died on good terms, which is why Hagoromo specifically wanted Sasuke to see how things ended between Madara and Hashirama as a way to start planting the seeds into Sasuke's head. You and Naruto can do the same thing. The Rinnegan is an eye that is described in the third Naruto databook as being an eye that can make one a god of creation and be a savior, or the eye can be used as a god of destruction. Madara, by dying in this way, has finally found balance that his character has never had. He is, for all intents and purposes, a soul that used the power for destruction purposes, being sent off to the afterlife, which is very fitting given he lost the eyes that are connected to the cycle of samsara. He basically achieved enlightenment here, which the goal of Buddhism is enlightenment. And so many of the Naruto characters who are written as avatars of the concept of samsara, they all are seeking enlightenment. In conclusion, this is basically the last light of the Rinnegan. The fact that Madara's Rinnegan disappears quietly without a spectacle, it is the ultimate karmic resolution. He violated nature by fusing Indra and Ashra's chakra, disrupting the divine order. That very power, the Rinnegan, was not stolen, it was not destroyed, it was not sealed. It simply ceased to exist. because the world rejected his path. In the end, the only Rinnegan left behind is the one that Hashirama, someone who is considered to be a god to the shinobi, willingly gave to Sasuke, a true heir to the six paths. Even though Sasuke at that point in time was on the wrong path, Hashirama foresaw the possibility that Naruto could. He said it himself, he would allow the battle between Naruto and Sasuke to dictate the fate that the world goes on, but obviously he was betting on Naruto. Hashirama is someone who believed that Sasuke would eventually seek to protect rather than to dominate. Sasuke's eye is ultimately a gift that is born from grace. That's the whole reason why Hashirama gave it to him. While Madara's, it was born via hubris. The light of the Rinnegan returned to the heavens in this case, to Hashirama, someone who again is considered to be a god, and it was removed from the cycle of samsara, a broken world fueled by ambition in the form of Madara. It was now finally made whole. That's why Sasuke, the last full-blooded Uchiha, the last descendant of Indra in terms of the reincarnation cycle, is the one who has that Rinnegan eye, and that's the only Rinnegan that was ever truly gifted from Hashirama. Obviously, if you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing and clicking over here on the left to watch more videos from Naruto Explained, or click over here on the right to check out videos from my Anime Explained channel.